Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations. Today, our guest is Lisa Swanson.
I'd like to acknowledge Lisa's background. She has over 35 years of experience in health and weight loss. Lisa is one of the most sought after experts on helping women over 50 crush their weight loss goals in a naturally progressive way that burns off belly fat and keeps it off. Through her signature framework combining aligned nutrition, progressive overload strength training, and empowering thoughts, that's the mindset piece.
Gotta have it.
Women over 50 finally get results they've been struggling to get on their own without starving themselves on diets or spending a lot of time in the gym. Instead, she teaches them how to enjoy the journey and let go of limiting beliefs that are holding them back. Now, Lisa is best known for her group coaching program, Metabolic Design, which helps women over 50 reclaim their waistlines, improve their energy, and create the strong, lean body they've been striving to accomplish on their own for much too long. Through sustainable weight loss, they are now ready to live their lives confidently and joyfully. Lisa, welcome to the Menowave Lounge.
I am grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
This is such a great topic, just talking about our metabolic system, menopause, and how it changes after 50. What do we know about that? Tell us a little bit about this, how it all works together.
That's a big question. I think the first thing is knowing the metabolism's job. It has to do with every single chemical reaction in our body and converts our food and drink into energy. The thing is where most people get stuck is they believe that the metabolism is a calculator, calories in, calories out, right? If I'm at a caloric deficit, then I will lose weight. I'll just burn more calories. If it's not working, I'll drop my calories a little bit more and I'll increase my exercise. If your calories are here and you keep dropping them, and then you start exercising more and more, here is stress. I want people to stop thinking of the metabolism as a calculator and think of it more as a stress barometer. The more stress that is on your metabolism, the slower it's going to be. This slows your metabolism right down. You may start to lose some weight and you think, hey, this is great, right? I went on this diet and it's low calorie, it's not sustainable, but I'm losing weight. And then all of a sudden, the diet's not working anymore. It's because there's too much stress on your body. Stress can come in many different forms. It can come from our thoughts. If we're sitting in fear, worry, anxiety, it can come from something that's happened in our lives. Maybe there's been a death in the family. That's a lot of stress. It could come from good stress. Maybe there's a wedding coming up. That's still stress on your body. It can come from not eating enough, over exercising, not sleeping enough, not enough rest and recovery in between your workouts. All of these things are stress coming at you from all different directions, and your metabolism plummets. So that's why people have such a hard time losing weight, is because they're increasing stress over and over again without realizing it. They're actually causing the problem. So we have to first get people to stop causing the problem and then shift them to what they should be doing.
That's really interesting because there are so many different things that cause stress, like you just said, and there's so many hidden stresses that we don't even realize. And there's stresses that we've lived with for a long time that are in our background, that are operating. And so just to stop and think about the things that are causing stress, good and bad, and how that's affecting us not only physically, but emotionally and mentally.
Absolutely. I mean, the mental part of the game, right? We can't really work on our nutrition and fitness to lose weight if there's still a lot going on up here. If the head trash is still in there, it's going to be very difficult to move forward. So we need to be able to clear that. Like the stresses that have been going on chronically in the background, we're not even aware of until maybe we go on vacation and realize, oh, my shoulders just dropped 3 inches and realize I've been like this all year. There's a lot of things that we don't even realize have been causing that stress.
Talk about when you're working with clients, how you clear out the monkey brain that's held us back, the limiting beliefs or whatever is causing us to be overly concerned in any particular area. What are some of the methods that you use in that mindset piece?
Oh, that's a great question. And there are lots of different tools that I use with my clients, because what's going to work for one person won't work for another. One of the most important things to remember is that there is no one way to do this. There is no one right way. There are multiple ways to get from point A to point B. And when it comes to what's going on in your mind and it's just cluttered up and stress and trying to get rid of those beliefs, especially as we are women, who are in menopause, we've had a long time to build up recordings that have been going in our head over and over again. One tool that I use is making smaller shifts. If you try to go from, I have failed at every diet I've ever tried, it's impossible for me to lose weight, to I will absolutely be successful with weight loss, your brain is not going to believe that. And your brain knows that you're lying. Instead, if you take a baby step belief of it's possible with some guidance and support, I can start moving that needle forward towards a healthier body, a healthier way. When that feels better, your brain's like, okay, well, I believe that. And then you start acting with what your beliefs are. If you're believing that, you can start doing things like drinking a little bit more water. It could be you drink 2 glasses of water a day, drink 4. So you start drinking 4, and then in a couple of weeks, you start drinking 6, and then 7, and you gradually build it up. But that type of small step, that very unsexy step, is going to be what sticks. Instead of I only drink 2, I'm going to drink 10 glasses of water every single day. And you do it for 2 days. And then you're like, I hate water. I don't want to drink this. And then you fail again. You believe that you have failed again. What did you just tell your brain? I can't do this. It's impossible for me to lose weight. See, I just proved it again. So we want to have those baby step beliefs that are believable and actionable. If you're saying in your mind, oh, I'm really not sure if I can do that, then that's not your baby step. If you say your baby step and your reaction is, on my worst day, I could get that done, that's your baby step. That's what I want you to step with, because now you start building trust within yourself and you start building confidence. You start believing, I do what I say I'm going to do. I am somebody who follows through with what I say I'm going to do. This is possible.
I like the baby steps. You have to start with something that you believe you can do, and you're also going to speak it out of your mouth so that your ears hear it. And what I love is that there are so many really cool ways nowadays to start this process. One of them is working with wonderful coaches like yourself. Others can be accountability with an app that tells me every 4 hours, it gives me an affirmation. And it just takes that little instant. I read it and I go, oh, that really resonates with me. So every 4 hours on my phone, you get this little affirmation. So like I said, there's lots of different ways that you can start your baby steps. Working with Lisa, Janette, or myself are great places to start. Lisa, tell me about how metabolic stress and stress management, what are some of the other things that women can do? Number one, to recognize that the stress is going on in their life, and then what can they do to work towards relieving that?
I think I can describe it best by telling you a story of a client. Just as an example, even though I run a group coaching program, we individualize it. Every client has a coach assigned to them to follow them through the program. Take one client coming in. She is a busy woman, so she already has some stresses in her life. She was doing Peloton or spin classes 7 days a week. She was trying to lower her calories enough so that she could lose weight, and she was feeling terrible about herself, trying to get all these exercises. So now you've got the stressful woman adding more stress on her body and having the wrong diet. She even went to her doctor, and the doctor told her, you're over 50, forget it. Luckily, she didn't listen to that. She asked her nutritionist, and they did one of those calculators and said, oh, here's what you're supposed to be eating, and upped her calories by like 500. So now she was overeating, more stress. So what we did was first talk to see, okay, what are you doing now and how is your body responding? The way you're eating right now, you're gaining weight, you're tired, you're irritable, and you're not sleeping well. All of those biomarkers are saying your hormones are off. How do we get our hormones balanced through food and stress management? So the first thing I did, which is very counterintuitive, was for her workouts, we switched over to strength training a few times a week, and I took her Peloton classes away. She loved them. That just for now, you're under too much stress and you're adding more stress, because exercise is stressful on the body. Doesn't mean we have to stop it. We need the right amount of it. We need the right amount of recovery. And right now, her body was not recovering from that exercise because she was already under stress. So we had to log her food without changing anything so we could see what was happening. This is how you're eating and how your body's responding. We're going to change it so that you'll start losing weight. We're going to balance out your macronutrients to work better for you. Then the weight started coming off. She started sleeping better. She wasn't as moody. She's like, oh, I'm not bloated anymore. I down a size, like it just started coming off. And not magically, I'm not going to say it's coming off 2 or 3 pounds a week. I mean, that's not realistic. And if it is, you're losing muscle, so don't look for that. Half a pound, 1 pound a week is plenty. Then you know you're really taking body fat off. She started feeling so much better about herself. She had energy again. Her joints weren't aching. That's a very common symptom of menopause. We've got her eating healthily. We have her doing the right amount of exercise for her body. We have her resting. You don't want to take away things from people that are bringing them joy. She loves those classes. That was joyful for her to do those classes. So it was like, add one class back in and let's see how your body does. Okay, add 2 classes back in. You're doing this and finding out what's your tipping point. And that's how we find the right thing. That's one example of a client of how to find what are her stress levels. What do we need to do to get the stress levels right for that individual person?
What would you tell a lady that hasn't been to a gym in a while but wants to start exercising again, and she's a little intimidated by going into a gym?
Well, you can always start at home. There's lots that you can do at home. You'd be surprised how many wonderful people are at a gym there to help you. You're there to learn. Who cares if you make a mistake? Don't worry. If there's anything that we should have learned being in our 50s or menopause or 60s, 70s, whatever, who cares what somebody else thinks? Don't worry about that part. More importantly, in feeling intimidated, you want to get past that, because once you go, you're going to start realize that this is your time. It is about you. It's not about what other people are thinking. Honestly, those people are just busy looking in the mirror and worrying about themselves. Make sure you're starting where you need to be. Just like with your nutrition, we have to meet you where you're at. Same with your workouts. I always tell people strength training, focus on strength training and then focus on cardio. You're burning carbohydrates when you're doing cardio, right? You're burning some body fat, but mainly carbohydrates going right back into storage with your next meal. Not that it's not useful and you shouldn't have some cardio, but we shouldn't be emphasizing cardio. What's really going to help the postmenopausal body is strength training, because we are losing muscle rapidly. We start losing muscle in our 30s and it increases with every decade. It's called sarcopenia. So that loss of that muscle, we need to get that on. And every year, month, you're not doing this, you are losing muscle. So focus on strength training, but start at a level that's right for you. Lift heavy enough so that your muscle is exhausted by 12 repetitions, or in the beginning, 15 or even 20. It doesn't mean you have to lift something that's too heavy for you. For somebody who's been lifting it for a while, they might be doing bicep curls with 15, 17 pounds. Somebody just starting out, they might have to do 5 pounds. And if they can only get through 15 to 12 reps with that 5 pounds, that's lifting heavy. That's all you need. Otherwise, you're going to hurt your joints. Make sure you have a balanced program, meaning that you're hitting all major muscle groups and working through all planes of motion. So you're working strength, you're working burning fat, you're working function, you're working balance.
I have 2 questions. One question is on strength training. If you're working all muscle groups, how many times a week are you actually doing strength training? The second question is, I'd like to delve a little bit into the cardio from the standpoint of just walking.
Okay.
Just walking.
Great. That's great. So first question, how often should you do strength training? It depends. Somebody who is under a lot of stress, I may just say twice a week. I may give them a full body workout twice a week. And then I work them up to 3 times a week and then 4 times a week. Somebody who's retired, they're pretty relaxed, they don't have a lot of stress in the body, they've been working out. I may take those workouts and say lower body this day, upper body another day, abs another day. It really depends on the person. What you want to make sure is that you have enough rest in between your workouts so that your body recovers. That's the most important part that women don't get. They think more is better. And so they go to the gym every day and they're just doing these like random workouts. You have to have a plan to get from point A to point B. You need a plan. You cannot do just random workouts. That will not get you there. Will only work for a short time. And you want enough rest and recovery in between. How do you know you have enough rest and recovery? You'll feel it in your body. Your resting heart rate has increased instead of decreased. You are feeling tired. You're not sleeping well. All of those are signs of overtraining, or you're getting weaker instead of stronger. That means that you're overtraining. Second question,
Walking.
Walking is a fabulous exercise. And for this conversation, I want to get into cortisol a little bit. As we get into perimenopause and menopause, our estrogens is lowering, right? And, almost, it's really down there by the time you're in postmenopause. So since we no longer have the estrogen that we used to have, we are more susceptible to the effects of cortisol. Estrogen protected us from the effects of cortisol. So we don't have that protection anymore. We're very susceptible to what cortisol is doing to our body, which is adding belly fat. So if you're constantly under stress, you're going to put fat on. I don't care what you're eating. You're going to put fat on. There's that stress and the metabolism, cortisol, this all ties in together. Walking is wonderful. I'm not talking about power walking. I'm not talking about getting your heart rate up. I'm not talking as a cardiovascular worker. I'm talking take a leisurely walk with your dog, with your girlfriends, have a nice conversation, a nice relaxing walk. That is enough to boost your metabolism without increasing your cortisol at all.
Hallelujah.
Right? Get those steps in, ladies. Count your steps, get them in. If you track it, you can manage it. So I know very clearly because I track everything. And I know with my steps, if I'm getting 13,000 steps in a day, I feel really good. My joints feel good. My body feels better. For you, it may be a different number. So track it and find out what works best for you. I'm not saying ignore cardio. Cardio exercise is your most important muscle, your heart. So we don't want to ignore that. Start out with a couple of times a week, 2 or 3 times a week, but keep those short, 20, 30 minutes. That's all you need.
Keep the cardio short.
Long, slow walks are great. Cardio, where you're getting your heart rate up, kept short and only a few times a week.
That's very much on time for me because I've been taking these step classes and these Zumba classes, and I love Zumba. But recently, because the step classes are a little bit more difficult because of the routines, I'm really working up a sweat. Then I said to myself, you know what? This class is hour class. I don't think I need to do a whole hour. I think I'm going to do 30 to 40 minutes of this class. And then they see me dragging my step to the back.
I'm done.
I'm out. Thank you for that. Permission.
I'm telling you, I don't do anything longer than 45 minutes. I'm done.
I like the idea of giving ourselves permission. I give myself permission to do things or not do things. I give myself permission to do yoga. And only if I want to do it for like 15 minutes, I do it for 15 minutes. I like yoga. For me, that's my form of exercising every day. Other than walking, we do a lot of walks. We have dogs. So our dogs need a lot of exercise, which gets us out of the house. I think a lot of women have pets that get them into an exercise walking program or something like that. I like yoga. It settles my mind. It clears my mind. It lets me take a break from stress. It gives me a baseline to understand what it feels like to be quiet in our mind and to allow the stresses of the conversation, the noise that goes on around us all the time, that thinking piece. It just allows us to let all that settle. And that kind of gives me a baseline to go, okay, this is what it feels like not to have stress. When things start coming at me again, I can start recognizing, is that stress? Is that healthy stress? What am I doing with this? Do I need to be in this conversation? Can I put that aside? That's one of the things that I do for myself to help me recognize my stress.
Like you said at the beginning of this conversation, we have stresses that are going on that we're not even recognizing. We don't even know we're in stress. Contrast teaches us a lot to be able to have that quietness. I live in this very wooded area, so I go outside with a cup of tea and just sit in my yard. It's just trees everywhere and silence. Sometimes I love to meditate, but sometimes I just need quiet and to sit.
I'm thinking about some of the comments we get within our Facebook group of women who are asking questions about their situations. There are many women who are struggling with the realities of menopause, be it perimenopause, postmenopause, because they're having actual symptoms that don't make them feel good. Have you worked with women who have a certain mindset based on how they're experiencing menopause to move them from where they are, acknowledging where they are, to perhaps a different level or maybe a transformation of sorts? I would think that work would be much more intensive.
You want to take the stress out of it. It's actually teaching women that less is more. I only work with women who are postmenopausal, and most of them are saying, yes, I want to lose weight. I've been trying to lose this weight for 5 years now and nothing's happened. The scale won't budge, or I'm trying to lose weight and the scale just keeps going up. I'm stressed. My joints hurt. I'm waking up 3 times a night. They're giving me that laundry list of what's going on with menopause, and what's happening, hormones are off. That's why you're feeling all of these things. And I'm not talking about estrogen and progesterone. I don't do HRT. There's so many other hormones that are in our body: human growth hormone, adrenaline, cortisol, leptin, ghrelin. There's so many things that are going on that are affecting our body. How do you control your hormones? Through your nutrition. When you can balance your nutrition, you start balancing those other symptoms out. Your joints start feeling better because now you're moving properly as well. And you start getting more energy. You start sleeping better because cortisol levels are coming down, or they're balancing out. A lot of times women are waking up in the middle of the night stressed out. That's a cortisol spike happening in the middle of the night, right? Because you've been under so much stress for so long, it's just firing it. Get that sunlight in your eyes, and that helps. Cortisol should be up in the beginning of the day. It gets you going for the day. And then as the day goes on, it should gradually come down. But what do? We keep on working. Then we're going to work out after dinner. And then we're going to do something else. We might do some house cleaning. Then before we go to bed, we're looking at our to-do list. And guess what? Cortisol's up there again. And then you wake up at night. So when people come in at the end of my 16-week program, they're not only saying, oh my gosh, I've lost 20 pounds. I'm in clothes that I haven't worn in 10, 15 years. I'm sleeping at night. My joints don't hurt. My hips feel better. All of this is tied together. It is very holistic. It's the whole body and mind experience.
Yes, because we do have to look at the whole 360 picture of what is going on with us. And you can't fix one area without fixing the other and bringing it back into balance. That's excellent, Lisa. Now, you said that you have an event coming up April 30th. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I do. So my event coming up is my workshop. I have a free workshop called the 5 Essential Steps Needed for Weight Loss After 50. I love this workshop. It's one of my favorite ones to give because I teach people how to recognize what their body needs, how to create sustainability with their healthy lifestyle that's going to support long-term weight loss instead of these quick fixes, and how to gain control over their body after menopause and get that healthy metabolism going. We also teach you how to discover healthy ways to cope with stress and any other obstacles that are impacting your weight. It's not just fitness and nutrition. Stress is hugely important. And then finally, how to feel like you again, right? How to love your body, enjoy life, and move forward with confidence.
I just love that. How to love yourself. We forget about that piece, how to take care of ourselves. I like that so much. That's awesome. And when is that?
That is April 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
We will have a link in the show notes below. So if you want to jumpstart with Lisa, check that link out. This has been such a great conversation. I feel like we could talk more about it, but I love the ABCs of what you're bringing to us, a holistic way in looking at all the different pieces. I love this conversation because I think everybody at different times in our life need to hear this. I know for me in my journey, I've had times when I've been really big into fitness and other times when I've done not very much. Life events happen in such a way that takes me away from my routine. It's always good to come back, reset, recharge, and remember how important it is for the time of life that we're in right now in our menopause lives. Any final thoughts?
I want to talk about restart because I think a lot of women feel like, oh my God, I got to start again. And they start with this feeling of defeat. Here I go again, doing this again. And you're not restarting. This is a journey. Starting from square one, you've learned so many things along the way. You've learned what does not work. You may have learned a couple of things that do work. So it's a continuation, and you should be starting from strength and from wisdom, not from a feeling of defeat.
Beautiful.
Yes, a new chapter. And we all have chapters in our lives that close, new chapters that start. That's how I like to look at it, a new chapter that I'm starting.
Yeah, and it's not a linear journey. It just isn't. Look, I've been doing this for 35 years, 35 plus. Yeah, I have times when I don't want to do it, times when life gets busy and it's just like, oh, I've really slacked off. I got to get back on this again.
I'm there right now. The first of the year, I didn't make a resolution. I don't believe in them, but there was just something going on. And I get to the gym, I do the step classes and Zumba, but I simply have not reset completely. And I'm feeling like this is the time I've got to do it. This is my time right now.
Yeah, just get in there and do it. The sooner you can start working on those muscles, there is a direct correlation to the amount of muscle on your body and brain function as you get older. So really lift those weights, get that muscle on.
It's never too late. You can always restart, reset, but take those baby steps. Give yourself some love for doing those baby steps. Remember, this is not a sprint. This is part of a journey. Give yourself some love, patience, and time, and know that you're doing something good for yourself. You'll feel better if you just do one thing every day. Take that walk, because then you've accomplished something. Accomplish those little steps every day, and that will lift you up and encourage you. Thank you so much for that, Lisa. This has been great. Thank you, ladies, for coming on to the show. If you know somebody that can benefit from listening to this podcast, please pass it on, subscribe and like, and be part of the conversation. All right, ladies, until next time, thank you for being on the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations.